This is some of the angel collection in my living room, and I really collect angels and like angels. It reminds me of an old train song, Calling All Angels. In the lives of our young people today, they need angels. They need people who will accompany them on their path of their lives. They need people, angels, guardian angels, to walk alongside them, and we're hoping that you might be some of those angels. One of the stories that we use a lot in youth ministry, we'll use it later on in the Alice Catechesis session, is about the Emmaus story. And there's just a couple quick observations about the Emmaus story when Jesus is walking on the road to Emmaus with the disciples that we want to call your attention to, that relate to pastoral care and caring for young people. We need to note that Jesus walked along beside the disciples. When we are working with pastoral care, we are choosing to walk alongside others. We're choosing to listen to their stories and engage them in their lives. We're not asking them to come to us, we're going out to them. And it's not just us going out to them, we're equipping and empowering and enabling other adults, other peer ministers to walk along beside our young people, no matter where they're at, whether they're feeling great or they're feeling like they're in need and in crisis. We also know from the Emmaus story that Jesus listened to the stories first. Jesus didn't come right in with his own agenda, come right in with his own knowledge, come in with his own wisdom. He listened to the stories of the disciples as they were walking along. They had had tragedy, they had had hard times, and he took the time to engage and listen to their stories first. It was a key thing. Listening to their stories first, building in that relationship, being able to know not only the young person's name, but knowing the facts of where that young person's from, what that young person's about, what that young person's doing, listening to their stories first. And when Jesus was walking along, he was walking at the speed of the disciples. He wasn't forcing the march, he wasn't slowing it down. He was listening, engaging, and walking at their pace. It's a challenging thing for us to do sometimes. We are so busy knowing where we got to go and where we got to get that it's kind of hard for us to sometimes to just slow down and engage in the pace of the other person. And when Jesus is walking along the road to Emmaus, there's a key moment on the road to Emmaus where their hearts are burning within them. The disciples experience conversion, but they experience conversion and it's about their conversion. It's not about Jesus' role in their conversion, and it's not about our role in their conversion. It's about their conversion. The only thing that makes a difference in the conversion lives of young people is not us as much as it's their openness and the Holy Spirit. And we've got to be aware of that. So it's not about, you got to be, coming to Jesus at such and such a point in your life to fit my goals and objectives. No, it's really about where are you at, person, and, and how can I help and how can I assist? And if you get there, awesome. And if you are still working your way there, I'm still going to be there for you. I'm not judging. I'm not, deciding for you. I just want to be walking along beside you. And that's a real sensitive thing. We really got to be very, very careful and very, very aware that, where the young person is at, and to be sensitive to their issues and their needs and to be able to listen to their stories, like Jesus did with the disciples on the road to Emmaus. Now, it's important to recognize throughout all of this that there's some basic principles in pastoral care with young people. We don't always have to be nice. We've got to be loving. Love sometimes can be challenging. Love sometimes can create healthy boundaries. We've got to be loving. We're not setting challenges for our needs. We're setting challenges for their needs. We're not setting boundaries for our needs. We're setting boundaries for their needs. We've got to be real careful about confidentiality. Lots of times young people will ask us to take a confidence and can you keep this a secret? And yeah, we can keep secrets, but there's sometimes that we just generally have to have a main policy that we can't keep your confidences. And here's a couple clear examples. If you've been a victim or if you've been a cause of abuse, we want to make sure that proper help is coming your way. And so we want to be able to report that to the proper necessary authorities. And we've got to be real careful not to promise confidentiality. If you give us signs and symptoms that you're going to be a danger to yourself, we've got to be able to let people know. We've got to be able to take that information and not hold it and be fearful that you may end up being a danger to yourself. We've got to share that other information with other caring people who will help to take care of you. That's not gossiping, that's taking care of another person. You got to recognize who you are as a person. You're a loving and kind and wonderful Christian person, but are you a paid therapist? No. Are you a degreed therapist? Probably not. You've got to know your own boundaries. You've got to be able to, to listen and care, but if other greater need and greater help is being taken care of, you've got to be able to pass that information, you got to be able to pass that young person on. You probably do not have all the proper equipment to help a young person heal. That healing process is going to be for them, and they're going to need a professional to help them through that. So you got to be careful about who you are and what you're capable of being able to do. When young people have issues and needs, we can help provide them a little bit of emotional first aid, but that's not therapy. We're not ongoing therapy. We are kind of like the triage agents. We get to help come up with the first thing that's saying there's something going on here, but then we've got to pass them on to a primary physician, to somebody who can help to take a look at that kind of issue. We're not the doctors. We're the people who can help say, yeah, you got to go see a doctor. We help put on Band-Aids in hopes that people will be able to take on greater care and get better first aid along the way. And here's the thing we really got to know. We've been saying this probably a couple of different times throughout these sessions. Parents are our partners. They ain't the enemy. We also are not the young person's friend or peer. We are adults. Parents have the primary responsibility for their children. We are their helpers. We've got to be real careful we can be friendly with young people, but we can't be the friend that they are seeking or may be confused by. And finally, we need to be honest with teens. We need not to lie to teens. We can't make promises, especially related to confidentiality, that we can't keep. These are some of the things we want you to think about and consider when getting involved in the great and wonderful opportunity to have a relationship with a young person, a relationship that is about you encouraging them, empowering them, and even inviting them towards faith. Pastoral care is needed for here, and we hope that you have those kind of opportunities. Thanks.